Mina almost turned back before the trail even began. The morning air was sharp and clean, and the forest looked calm, but something about the quiet felt too perfect, like a room after someone has left in a hurry. She tightened the straps of her small backpack, checked her phone signal, and saw one weak bar that vanished as soon as she moved her hand. No service, of course. That was the point of hiking alone, she had told herself. Space. Silence. A break from city noise and from the thoughts that followed her like shadows. She started anyway. The path was marked at first. A wooden sign pointed toward a ridge, a creek, and an old lookout. Mina chose the ridge loop, the longest one, because long walks made her brain tired in a good way. Her boots pressed into damp soil. Leaves glittered with leftover rain. Somewhere far off, a bird called out, and the sound echoed between tall trees like a warning and a welcome at the same time. After an hour, the marked trail thinned. The trees grew closer together, and the light changed. It was still daylight, but the forest ceiling held it back. Mina could feel the weight of that shade on her shoulders. She paused at a fork where the sign was missing. One narrow trail looked like it was used often. The other was messy, half hidden by weeds, like it had not seen a person in months. She should have taken the used path. Instead, Mina stared at the messy one, feeling a strange pull. It did not make sense. There was no map on her phone, and she did not want to get lost. But something inside her whispered that she had not come here to do what was safe. She had come here because her life felt stuck, like a door that would not open no matter how hard she pushed. Mina stepped onto the hidden trail. At first it was just rougher ground. More fallen branches. More stones. Then, after 15 minutes, she noticed things that did not belong. A small piece of rope tied around a tree, faded and frayed. A carved mark on bark, shaped like a simple arrow. Then another mark. Then another. Whoever made them had wanted someone to follow. Mina's heart beat faster. She told herself it was probably an old hunting path, maybe used by locals. Still, she kept going, because turning back now felt harder than moving forward. The forest opened into a shallow dip where the air was cooler. Ferns grew thick. In the center, there was a dry creek bed, full of smooth stones like old bones. Mina climbed down carefully and followed the creek bed, because the ground was flatter there. That was when she saw it. At first, her mind refused to name it. A shape sat among trees on the far side, huge and impossible, like a dream someone forgot to finish. It looked like the front half of a boat, but there was no water anywhere. No lake. No river. Just woods. Pine and oak and moss, as if nature had built a stage around it. Mina walked closer. It was a boat, and also not a boat. The body was old wood with faded paint, but the top had been turned into a cabin. Windows had been cut into the sides. A small chimney rose from the roof. Someone had fixed metal sheets over parts of the hull to hold it together. The whole thing rested on thick beams and stones, lifted above the ground like a house that wanted to float. A cabin built into a boat. Mina stopped near the entrance, staring. The door was real, like a normal cabin door, but the frame curved with the shape of the hull. A lantern hung on a hook beside it. It was unlit, but it looked recently cleaned. The steps were worn, but not broken. Leaves had gathered on the bottom step, yet the higher steps looked brushed, like someone cleared them away not long ago. Mina swallowed. 1,000 thoughts crowded her mind. Who built this? Why here? Is someone inside? Should she leave? Should she knock? She listened. No voices. No music. No obvious movement. Only the forest, breathing. Mina lifted her hand and knocked once. The sound was dull, like knocking on a tree. She waited. Nothing. She knocked again, louder, and said, "Hello." Still nothing. Mina should have turned around. She knew that. Every warning story begins with someone ignoring the voice of caution. But her feet remained planted. Her eyes moved over the boat cabin again, noticing small details. A wind chime made from bottle caps hung near a window. A pair of muddy boots sat under a bench, lined up neatly. On the bench was a folded blanket, gray and heavy, like it had been used last night. Someone had been here. Mina's chest tightened. A strange mix of fear and curiosity ran through her, like hot and cold water twisting together. She reached for the door handle. It turned. The door opened slowly, and a soft smell drifted out. Not rot. Not mold. It smelled like cedar wood and faint smoke, like a place that was lived in carefully. Mina stepped inside. The air was warmer in the cabin, even though there was no fire burning. Light entered through the windows in thin lines. The inside was smaller than she expected, but it was organized like someone knew how to make a tight space feel safe. There was a small table made from a thick plank. 2 chairs. Shelves with jars. A simple stove. A kettle. A stack of books, each wrapped in brown paper like they were important. The walls were lined with old photographs pinned carefully, not randomly. They formed a kind of timeline. Mina moved closer to the photos. Most were taken outdoors. Mountains, rivers, forests. People smiled in some of them, but not in a loud way. Their smiles looked tired and real. In the center of the photo wall, one picture stood out. It was newer than the rest. The colors were stronger. It showed a young woman standing in front of the same boat cabin, but when Mina looked closer, her breath caught. The woman in the picture looked like Mina. Not exactly, but enough to make Mina's skin prickle. Same dark hair length. Similar face shape. A small mark near the left eyebrow. Mina touched her own eyebrow, feeling the tiny scar she had gotten as a kid. The woman in the photo had it too. Mina leaned in, studying the picture like it might change if she stared long enough. Her mouth went dry. A sound came from deeper inside the cabin. Not a voice. Not footsteps. A soft shifting, like something heavy settling. Mina froze. Her eyes flicked toward the back. The cabin had a narrow hallway that curved with the hall. There was a curtain at the end, hanging like a divider. The sound had come from behind that curtain. Mina's heart hammered. She told herself it could be an animal. A raccoon. A cat. Something that slipped in through a gap. But the cabin looked too sealed for that. Too maintained. She stepped back without meaning to. Her heel bumped the table, and a small object rolled off the edge and fell to the floor with a sharp click. Mina looked down. It was a compass, old and scratched, but the glass was clear. The needle spun wildly, then stopped pointing somewhere that did not match the direction she came from. Mina had used compasses before. She knew how they behaved. This one acted like it was confused, like the earth itself was refusing to guide it. Then she noticed something else. A notebook lay on the table, closed, with a pen placed perfectly across it. The cover was plain, but there was a symbol drawn on it in dark ink. A simple shape like 2 waves crossing, with a tiny star above them. Mina did not understand why, but the symbol made her feel like she had seen it before. Not in real life. In a dream. In the kind of dream you forget in the morning, but your body remembers it anyway. Her hand reached out before her mind gave permission. She opened the notebook. The first page had a date. No year, just a month and day. Today's date. Mina's stomach dropped. Under the date were lines of neat handwriting. It said, "If you are reading this, you made the same choice again." Mina's eyes went wide. She read the sentence twice to make sure she was not imagining it. Her fingers tightened around the edge of the notebook. The next line said, "Do not panic. Breathe. You came here because you felt the pull. That pull is real." Mina's throat tightened so hard it hurt. She looked toward the curtain again. The cabin felt smaller now, like the walls leaned in to listen. She forced herself to read more. The writing continued, calm and direct, as if it knew Mina better than her closest friends. "You are not the first Mina to open this notebook. You are not the last. Each time you come, you think you are lost. Each time you are sure this cannot be happening. And each time, you are wrong." Mina's eyes blurred. She blinked hard. The words did not fade. She whispered, "What is this?" No one answered. Mina flipped the page quickly. The next page had a list of names. Not many. Maybe 8 or 9. All simple names. Some were crossed out. Next to each name were short notes, like reminders. Rafi, stayed too long. Forgot why he came. Nora, found the box. Lied about it. Salman, broke the rule. Paid for it. Mina, do not open the lower hatch alone. Mina's breath caught on that last line. It was written darker than the others, as if the pen pressed harder. Lower hatch. Mina looked around again, searching. She had noticed the stove, the shelves, the pictures. But now her eyes scanned for anything unusual. The floor. The corners. The shape of the hull under the cabin boards. Near the back, just before the curtain, she saw metal hinges. A square outline. A hatch. Mina's legs felt weak. She stepped closer slowly. The hatch was built into the wooden floor, almost invisible unless you looked directly at it. 2 iron handles sat flush with the wood. There was a thin line of dust around the edges, except on one side where the dust was smudged, like someone had opened it recently. Mina did not touch it. Not yet. She backed away, returning to the notebook like it was safer than the hatch. She flipped forward, scanning pages. Some pages were full of writing. Others were blank. Several pages had drawings. The boat cabin from different angles. Symbols. A map that did not match any trail map she had ever seen. It showed the forest like a maze, with the boat cabin at the center like a heart. Then she found a page with a message written in larger letters, almost like someone wanted it seen first. It said, "There is something inside this boat that does not belong to the forest. It is not a treasure. It is not a gift. It is a secret that people have tried to bury for years." Mina stared at the words until her eyes hurt. Her mind tried to climb around them, but the meaning stayed heavy. A secret. Behind her, the wind chime outside tinkled softly. The sound made Mina flinch. For a second, she thought someone had touched it. But it was only wind, sliding through trees. Still, the noise reminded her that she was not hidden. She was in the open, even in this strange place. The forest could watch her through every window. Mina turned toward the photos again, and her gaze landed on another picture she had missed. It was tucked near the bottom. A group photo. 5 people standing close, smiling in the same tired way. Mina's eyes moved over each face, then stopped on the person at the end. It was the same woman who looked like Mina. The woman held something in her hands. A small wooden box, dark and old. The kind of box you would keep letters in. The kind you would lock. Mina leaned in, and her chest tightened again. Because on the side of the box, the same symbol was carved. 2 crossing waves and a tiny star. Mina stepped back, her heel catching on something near the shelf. She looked down and saw a small latch on the wall, half hidden behind hanging coats. It was attached to a narrow cabinet door. Her hands shook as she opened the cabinet. Inside was a wooden box. The same box from the photo. It was real. It sat there like it had been waiting, not for anyone, but for her. Mina stared at it. She did not touch it yet. She could feel the weight of choice pressing on her, like the forest had brought her here to test something inside her. She reached out, fingertips hovering an inch above the lid. Then a voice spoke from behind the curtain. Not loud. Not threatening. Just calm, like someone speaking to a friend in a quiet room. "Please do not open that without me." Mina's whole body went cold. She turned slowly toward the curtain, her heart pounding so hard she could hear it in her ears. The curtain moved slightly, as if someone stood just behind it, close enough to push it aside. Mina swallowed and forced her voice to work. "Who are you?" The voice answered, steady. "Someone who has been waiting for you to come back." Mina's fingers curled away from the box. Her eyes stayed locked on the curtain. The air in the cabin felt thicker now, full of unseen history. Full of decisions made before she ever stepped onto this trail. Full of names crossed out. Mina took one careful step toward the curtain, and the metal hinges of the lower hatch creaked softly, as if something beneath the floor had shifted, listening to every word. Mina did not answer right away. The voice behind the curtain did not rush her. It waited, patient, like it knew silence could be louder than words. Mina's eyes moved again to the wooden box, then to the hatch in the floor, then back to the curtain. Her heart kept racing, but a strange calm slowly wrapped around her fear, the kind that comes when the mind realizes running will not save anything. She took a slow breath. "I did not know anyone was here," Mina said. Her voice sounded smaller than she wanted, but it did not shake. "I know," the voice replied. "You never do." The words settled heavy in the room. Mina stepped closer to the curtain, stopping a few steps away. She could see a faint shadow behind it, tall and still. Not threatening, but not weak either. "Who are you?" Mina asked again. The curtain shifted slightly. A hand appeared, holding the fabric aside just enough to show a face. A man stepped forward, careful and unhurried. He looked older than Mina, maybe late 40s, with dark hair streaked with gray. His eyes were sharp but tired, like someone who had not slept well in years. He wore simple clothes, worn but clean, like someone who valued order even in strange places. "My name is Aaron," he said. "I take care of this place." Mina studied him closely. He did not look surprised to see her. If anything, he looked relieved. "You built this," Mina said, gesturing around. Aaron nodded. "Not alone. But yes. I helped shape what it became." Mina glanced back at the photos. "Why does one of those people look like me?" Aaron followed her gaze. His face tightened, just a little. "Because that is you," he said. "Or someone very close to you." Mina let out a short, disbelieving laugh. "That is not possible." Aaron did not argue. He walked to the table and gently closed the notebook Mina had left open. "You found the trail because you were meant to," he said. "Just like before." Mina shook her head. "I have never been here before." Aaron met her eyes. "Your memory says that. The forest says something else." Mina crossed her arms, grounding herself. "Start explaining." Slowly. Aaron nodded and pulled out a chair, sitting like this was an ordinary meeting. He gestured for Mina to sit too. She hesitated, then sat across from him, keeping distance. "This cabin is not a shelter," Aaron said. "It is a knot. A place where paths cross when they should not." Mina frowned. "That sounds like a story." "It is," Aaron replied. "But it is also real." He stood and walked to the photo wall, pointing at the faces. Each of these people came here because they felt lost. Not in the forest. In themselves. Mina recognized that feeling too easily. "The forest does something strange here," Aaron continued. "It bends memory. Time does not move in a straight line around this place. It loops." Mina's fingers curled against the chair. "Are you saying I have been here before?" Aaron nodded once. "More than once." Mina stood up abruptly. "No. I would remember." "You remembered pieces," Aaron said. "The pull. The dreams. The feeling that something important was missing." Mina froze. Those words landed too close to home. Aaron turned toward the wooden box in the cabinet. "Each time you came, you made a different choice." Mina's voice dropped. "What is in that box?" Aaron hesitated, then spoke carefully. "Something taken from the forest long ago. Something that should have been returned." Mina felt a chill. "And why am I connected to it?" Aaron looked at her like he had been waiting for that question. "Because the first person who found it shared your blood." Mina stared at him. "That makes no sense." "It does." Aaron said quietly. Just not yet. A low sound came from beneath the floor. Mina jumped back instinctively. The hatch creaked again, louder this time, like something inside shifted its weight. Dust drifted from the edges. Aaron's head snapped toward the hatch. It knows you are here. Mina's breath caught. What knows? Aaron did not answer right away. He moved toward the hatch and placed a firm foot on one handle, as if holding it down. It wakes when the box is near, he said. And it listens. Mina backed away until her shoulders brushed the wall. You said not to open the lower hatch alone. Why? Aaron's jaw tightened. Because no one who opened it alone came back the same. Mina's pulse pounded. Came back from where? Aaron looked at her again, and for the first time, fear flickered across his face. From themselves. The cabin suddenly felt smaller. Mina swallowed. Why am I here now? Aaron sighed. Because the loop is breaking. The wind outside picked up. Branches scraped against the hull like fingers. The lantern by the door swayed slightly. The forest has been holding this place together, Aaron said. But it is tired. Mina thought of the crossed-out names in the notebook. What happened to them? Aaron's eyes lowered. Some left. Some stayed too long. Some chose wrong. And me? Mina asked. Aaron looked up. You always come closest. Mina laughed bitterly. That is not comforting. Aaron did not smile. It is honest. He stepped aside from the hatch and walked to the window. The box is the key. It anchors the loop. Mina stared at the box again. It did not look powerful. It looked ordinary. That scared her more. If I open it, Mina said, what happens? Aaron turned slowly. You will remember. Mina's chest tightened. Everything. Aaron nodded. The hatch rattled slightly beneath his foot, like a warning. Mina rubbed her temples. Her head hurt now, like pressure was building behind her eyes. I do not want to remember something that could break me, she said. Aaron's voice softened. You already carry it. Memory does not create pain. It reveals it. Mina looked at the photos again. She stepped closer, scanning faces. Her eyes stopped on a smaller picture near the edge. It showed a younger version of the woman who looked like her, standing near the box, smiling with tears in her eyes. Mina's throat tightened. She looks like she is saying goodbye, Mina whispered. Aaron nodded. She was. Mina turned back sharply. Goodbye to what? Aaron met her gaze. To the person she used to be. Another sound came from the hatch, louder this time. A deep thud, like something heavy shifting beneath the floor. Aaron stepped back onto it, pressing harder. Sweat beaded on his forehead. It is getting impatient, he said. Mina's heart hammered. What is under there? Aaron hesitated, then spoke. A memory given shape. Mina shook her head. That is not an answer. It is the only one that fits, Aaron replied. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the compass, placing it in Mina's hand. It will stop spinning when you choose, he said. Mina stared at the needle. It trembled, pointing nowhere. Choose what? She asked. Whether to open the box, Aaron said. Or walk away and let the loop collapse. Mina's breath caught. What happens if it collapses? Aaron did not soften his words. This place will be erased. Everyone tied to it will lose what they left behind. Mina's voice shook. And what did I leave behind? Aaron's eyes held hers. Your reason for coming back. The floor beneath them creaked again, sharper now. A faint knocking came from below, slow and deliberate. Mina felt panic rise. We cannot stay here. Aaron nodded. Then decide. Mina looked down at the compass. The needle shook, then slowly tilted toward the cabinet where the box waited. Her hands trembled as she reached for it. The moment her fingers touched the lid, A wave of heat rushed through her body. Images flashed behind her eyes. The forest at night. The box opening. A scream that sounded like her own. A promise whispered into the dark. Mina gasped and pulled her hand back. Aaron steadied her. That is only the edge. Mina stared at him, breathless. I saw something. Aaron nodded. And it saw you. The knocking beneath the floor turned into a heavy thump. The hatch rattled violently. Aaron planted both feet on it now, straining. It knows the box is awake. Mina's fear twisted into resolve. She grabbed the box with both hands. I am not letting this control me anymore, she said. Aaron's eyes widened. Then do not open it here. Mina froze. What? Aaron pointed toward the door. The forest must witness it. The cabin shuddered as another powerful strike hit the hatch. Mina clutched the box to her chest. Then we leave now. Aaron nodded sharply. Follow me exactly. He moved fast now, grabbing supplies, pulling on boots. Mina rushed to the door, heart racing. As she stepped outside, the forest air hit her like a wall. Behind them, the cabin groaned. The sound from below turned furious, like something enraged by escape. Aaron slammed the door shut and locked it. We do not have much time, he said. Mina looked at the trees, the trail, the box in her arms. She felt something shifting inside her, like a door opening slowly. The compass needle stopped spinning. It pointed straight into the forest. Mina followed Aaron into the forest, holding the wooden box tight against her chest. The trees seemed closer now, their trunks crowding the narrow path like they were watching her pass. The compass in her other hand stayed still, its needle firm, guiding her forward without doubt. Behind them, the cabin groaned again. A deep sound rolled through the woods, like something angry realizing it had been denied. Birds burst from the branches, filling the air with frantic wings. We cannot look back, Aaron said. His voice stayed steady, but his steps were fast. Once the box leaves the cabin, the forest will react. Mina did not ask how he knew. Her body already believed him. They moved downhill, slipping through roots and stones. The air felt thicker with every step, like walking through unseen water. Mina's head buzzed. Images pressed against her thoughts, trying to break through. Faces. Hands. Her own voice, speaking words she did not remember saying. Where are we going? Mina asked. Aaron glanced at the compass. To where it began. The forest suddenly opened into a clearing. Moonlight poured down even though it was still daytime, silver and unreal. In the center stood a ring of stones, old and smooth, arranged carefully like someone had measured each space by hand. Mina stopped. Her chest tightened. She knew this place. Her feet moved before she decided to walk. Aaron followed, his expression tense but calm. You remember now, he said. Pieces clicked together inside Mina. She remembered standing here before. Younger. Afraid. Holding the same box. Crying as someone else begged her to stop. I was here, Mina whispered. I opened it. Aaron nodded. And you closed it again. That is why the loop survived. The ground beneath the stone circle vibrated softly. A low hum filled the air, not loud but powerful. Mina stepped into the circle. The box grew warm in her hands. What is inside? She asked, though her voice already knew the answer. Aaron stood just outside the stones. A memory the forest was never meant to hold. Pain that was buried instead of healed. Mina swallowed. Mine. Aaron met her eyes. Yours and others like you. People who thought hiding it would make it disappear. Mina's hands shook as she set the box on the ground in the center of the circle. The symbol carved on the lid glowed faintly. The forest went silent. Mina knelt and opened the box. Light spilled out, not bright but deep, like looking into clear water. Images rose into the air around her. Not floating pictures, but moments she felt in her bones. She saw herself younger, standing beside a river, watching someone she loved walk away without turning back. She felt the helplessness again, the promise she made to never feel that weak. She saw herself years later finding this forest, finding the box, believing she could lock the pain away. Tears streamed down Mina's face, but she did not look away. The light shifted. She saw the others from the photos. Each had come with their own loss. Each had believed they were strong enough to hide it. The forest had taken their memories and shaped them, feeding the thing beneath the cabin. A shadow rose at the edge of the clearing. It did not have sharp edges or eyes. It was heavy and familiar, like fear given weight. It pressed against the circle but could not enter. Aaron spoke calmly. It only exists because the pain was denied. Mina stood, her legs shaking but strong. She looked at the shadow and felt no urge to run. I remember now, she said. And I accept it. The shadow trembled. Mina closed her eyes and spoke the words she had avoided for years. Words of loss, of grief, of anger, of forgiveness she had never given herself. The light from the box grew warmer, softer. The shadow began to fade, shrinking as if starved. The ground stilled. When Mina opened her eyes, the box was empty. The forest breathed again. Aaron stepped into the circle. His shoulders sagged with relief. It is done. Mina nodded, wiping her face. She felt lighter, not because the pain was gone, but because it was finally hers again. What happens now? She asked. Aaron smiled gently. The loop ends. The stone circle cracked softly, then settled. The compass in Mina's hand spun once, then pointed back toward the main trail. Mina looked toward where the cabin had been. Through the trees, she saw only forest. No boat. No chimney. No shadow. Will you leave? Mina asked Aaron. He shook his head. My place was here until you remembered. Now I can rest. The forest light shifted, and Aaron faded like mist under the sun. Mina stood alone in the clearing. She followed the compass and reached the marked trail before sunset. Her phone showed full signal again. The world felt normal, but she knew she was changed. When Mina looked back once more, the forest stood quiet and whole. She walked forward, carrying no box, no secret, only her own memories at last reclaimed. The shock was not what she found inside the cabin. The shock was what she finally found inside herself.